Hey Yvonne, welcome here. We're so happy to be having you speak at the conference this year.
Thanks for having me here today. It's really a pleasure to be a speaker at the American Board of Hypnosis Conference. It's one of those key conferences that I keep on telling my students that you've got to get on heaps of stuff and you get to interact with different people, key people that is making huge movements around the world through hypnosis, through neuro-linguistic programming and all those stuff, which is good stuff, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. There's so many different presentations, and I love that about this conference. And so many varied backgrounds as well. So, your journey has moved from corporate leadership into transformational coaching, NLP, hypnosis, and coaching. So, what did you discover that shifted the direction of your career into this area?
I've always loved working with corporates because that's where I grew up. I spent over 2 decades working exactly with salespeople. So performance is key, deliverables are important. That's how you secure your bonuses year after year and then get promoted and all the stuff. It's pretty much the whole pathway of success when you're in corporate. So when I stepped out, I felt that that's my playfield. That's where I ought to go to. And with all the learnings that I've gotten through the neuro-linguistic programming, time therapy, hypnosis, and coaching altogether, I want to go back and give back to that area. And that's because I know that most corporates struggle to really train up a very good salesperson. And good salesperson means that one that performs in a way that they deliver not just the sales numbers for the company, also for the clients. That means it's absolutely a win-win. It's not a pushy sales, it's not forced and all. And the clients actually comes back and asks them, what else can I engage in you guys to do more work and all the stuff. And that's absolutely really, really, really very hard to find, or at least in this area in Asia,
Mm.
despite of the growth and all over years. Yeah. So knowing what I then was trained after I stepped out of corporate, I had the heart to really go back and come up with a framework with certainty that as long as they keep on going on this pathway, then they would definitely churn out really good sales people and sales leaders as
Mm.
well. Interestingly, in few of the trainings and interactions that I have, one or two of the head of departments and leaders actually asked me what else can I do to have myself transform. And I was like, oh wow, that's where it's just magnificent. That's the perfect spot that you want your clients to be. When they ask you, what else can I do, Evonne? Where else can I get further transformation? I had a very candid conversation with one of the leaders, and I told him that it starts with you, your personal journey. It's all about you because you, as a leader, they are looking up to you and you become the model of excellence. And so he hopped on to all the certifications and everything. Aside from that, he actually came on to the coaching as well. And he went on for almost a 2 years committed coaching journey. And the transformation is just magnificent. So that was
Mm.
the starting point. And I started to ask myself, why don't I work at this scope? Yeah. While the trainings are great, you get to interact with heaps of people. Sometimes there are those that really wanted to learn. Well, sometimes you may not have that group of audience that wants to learn. Those that comes
Mm.
in and say, "Hey, Evonne, you just give me the immediate pill, the pop pill. We call it here in Asia the Panadol. You know, active fast. You just popped it in, and then I solved it. Tomorrow I walk out, and then I'm a magnificent salesperson. Can you tell me exactly the script, the words to use when I'm in front of this difficult client, all the stuff? Yeah. So not always you're in front of a good group of audience that's ready to learn. So here I have one individual that wants to make a transformation. And I remember over the years when I first started with Pat James' company. There's the tagline that says it transform the planet, right? And I always thought that, wow, that's a huge thing, transform the planet. What if I start with the one person that really wanted to make the change? And there I am. I started working personally with different groups of leaders in different environments, different setting, different contexts that basically wanted to really make a change in where they are.
Mm.
That's how it started.
Yeah. That's a great journey, isn't it? To find that inspiration from, working with one client, one person who, truly has this great vision. You both grow your own vision from that. That's why we love what we do, right? You end up inspiring others as well along the journey and inspiring yourself to take further action.
It
Okay.
is, isn't it, Tara? Sometimes when
Mm.
you think about it, this entire pathway is not, I mean, when I started, it wasn't exactly where I thought it's going to be. In fact, I was like considering with the many years in corporate, I wanted to have a better balance with work and give more to what I really wanted to do. Probably just get myself upgraded and see what else is out there. No clear pathway, no fixed, no pattern and where to go at all. No clear directions, in fact. And then as I walked on with just the intention to really work with people and work with people that wants to make changes and struggling in that area. That was where I started with NLP because that was my personal journey as well.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. And it starts from sharing that personal journey, doesn't it? Yeah. So, in terms of, transformational leadership skills in the corporate sector, I mean, there's a lot of different methodologies and different providers and things like that out there. Why do you think NLP and hypnosis are amazing tools for change in that environment?
Absolutely. At the rate that we are going through life, the amount of changes, the frequencies, and the intensities, plus the technologies that is coming out, it's just tremendous. You can't imagine the amount of stress a junior manager or a junior leader coming up goes through simply because they are expected to know what to do with their work, and then plus all the technologies to use to help themselves and a whole group of people from behind them. Now that has everything to do with our own capacity. Nothing to do with I'm going for another AI training, nothing to do with I'm better using this sort of intelligence, or was it cloud, or was it Faber, or that sort. It's nothing to do with it, but it's everything to do with what's up here that holds all things together. And fundamentally, nobody taught us how to best use what we have with us, which is our mind. Neuro-linguistic programming and hypnosis goes back to the very, very key fundamentals that allows us to not only talk about what's out there, but to work with what's within us and to utilize further what's of the mind. How do we then flip faster? What are the programs within us that I can reprogram, rewire, and then expand my productivity, my ability to take on new things, my ability to change, and the restructuring. I just finished a group of master practitioner training with 2 leaders in corporate. They're fairly young, aged probably 30, 35, or one is 35, the other is 40. And when she came into the training, she was an absolute, really kind of a mess. And that's because the company was going through a restructure. And that was just November last year. And now, this coming Friday, the company is going to go through another restructuring time. Can you imagine that it's less than a year, less than 12 months, and leaders are expected to, hey, I'm going to throw this to you, this portfolio. You don't even have time to understand what you're holding. You need to deliver. How come? Because it's not just within Malaysia waters. This company is regionally connected. They've got HQ headquarters in China and Singapore and Thailand all over. So it's like if you're not going to move forward here in Malaysia, then you've got the other partners there in Thailand. They're doing so much better than you. So the pressure is just there all the time. Now, because she's gotten onto the NLP journey, learned hypnosis. Oh, she loves hypnosis. Remarkable, really. With all the suggestions that she took in during class, it's just magnificent. This time round, she was saying, we just finished class yesterday. She said this, Evonne, if they don't intend to retain me, I think I found the answer here. I could easily either find myself a new role, or I actually can walk out and really start running a business. I could do coaching. I could put out whatever talents that I have within myself, and I could just take on whatever I need to do. Now think about it. When she came on that time, the company just went through one restructuring, new bosses, new team, and she couldn't hold it. We had a conversation 8 p.m. at night in Malaysia, and she hasn't had dinner. She just gotten home. She hasn't washed up anything, and she's got to work through the whole weekends as well. Now she's like, this weekend, let them sort it out. I'm coming to class. I'm going to get myself upgraded. It's just an entirely different her. Yeah. So what happens if they give you a new portfolio, they expect you to do more and all this stuff? Sure thing. I just know what to do. I will then redesign my strategies, blow them up if it's a problem, redesign the internet program, reinstall it and test it. And if I've got any negative emotions, I know how to deal with it. Plus, probably have some limiting decisions in there. Yeah. So it gets that real time. People that comes into class are those that comes with heaps of bags of really struggles at work. And work is their lifeline. As in they really clock 12 hours, 14 hours. Well, she's only in middle management, not even getting closer yet to the C-suite level, which I'm going to meet up with another lady this weekend.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It's kind of...
Yeah. Yeah, you did. You talked about NLP and hypnosis being, incredibly valuable for managers and leaders to be able to, I guess, manage themselves, right? It's about managing themselves to be able to manage others and lead others and inspire others, which is exactly what we do as coaches and practitioners as well, right? But being able to do that for those who are also leaders in that corporate environment. So you talk a bit about human excellence, and training in human excellence. What does that mean to you?
It's a huge word, isn't it? Yeah.
Start
Excellence
somewhere.
is... yeah. Excellence is... When I stepped into NLP, that was the one thing that struck me: excellence. I come from a background of... I remember my professor back in the university days. He used to say this. It's one of the locals. He's a Malay here, and he says it in the local Malay language. He says that, Evonne, you are one of those that is hidden talent nobody knows, but you've got an eye that you push yourself far too hard. He always says that. And I say, and I will smile and look at him. He's got that pipe there, and he will pause a bit. And then I say, Professor, that's because I want to be like you. Excellence. I majored in biology. I've always loved learning things about the world, the plants and animals and all those stuff. So the heaps of information that you got to just jam into your mind and, figure stuff out and all, right? So he was the representation of an excellence to me. And I didn't realize that until when I started work. I got into the corporate world for bank assurance, that means in the financial services. And in the sales line, everything's about numbers. So every year the numbers moved up. And if you get 10% increment in your target, that's called generous. It can move like 15 to 20%. And because it's top-down driven, it's not a question of negotiation. It's a question of where do you see yourself next year and the year after and the year after. And I had this boss, he's 6 foot, and I'm a 5-footer. Tara, you know me, you've seen me in Sydney, I'm the small little one there. And he's really tall. Well, Matt is huge and all, but he's a lanky guy, somewhere like Terrence, that sort, but he's got all white hair. So he looks like that ancient guy and all, yeah. He used to put all 12 of us, sales head, into the room, and we get measured every other month. We come in for meetings in a closed room at a hotel, secluded somewhere, and then our numbers get posted right up, and then you get measured. Oh. And it gets so real that you get celebrated when you're top one. And when the moment you drop down, and people forget what they did well last month, even last week, it's old story, it's old news story, it's gone. They can't remember it. Yeah. So I was in that system for probably at least 4 years before they moved me up to be a leader. So it was a constant chase, and it's a real race to want to be at the top. Therefore, the word excellence really means that what would it take for me within myself that I could deliver not just the same results, better results than what I did before, consistently. It could be work, it could be career, could be even in relationships, it could be business. The point is, what would it take for me? Now, for me to know that, this would mean that I've got to know what's in me, what's the programs, what are the processes in me that I'm doing or I'm not doing. Life goes on and we're so busy. And you ask anybody, how do you get to that success? They'll smile and tell you that, oh, just clock the hours and you get there. And that's not true. That's absolutely not true. Yeah, because I've spoken to salesperson that has worked harder than anybody else in the room. They're getting the results. Same with leaders, they're not getting results. They walk off the office at 8:30, 10, and they have no idea what they're doing. Because the only key was to clock more hours. So they're not conscious of what's going on within them. Yeah. So the idea of excellence came to me because I know that where we are, this is a rare commodity. It's so rare in the sense that it just like, if you traveled to a small little town in the outskirts of Malaysia, there's this place in the dark forest, really, really tremendously dark, probably as dark as where you are in night skies that you can see the stars. But here you have this little small bug where the bud lights up.
Mm-hmm.
The lighting, we call it here, the name we call it is kelip.
Okay.
So it's like as if some days you can catch it and some days you can't. So excellence becomes something like, well, if I've got all my stars aligned in a way, I might catch it. And if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. Nobody can really for certain tell it. And everyone, all the companies, all the corporates out there craves. So when I got into NLP, even at the practitioner level, I was very much attracted to the word excellence. Not just about excellence, but the idea of really able to achieve excellence consistently. What does it take for me? So human excellence has everything to do with performance. Just a question of which area of your life you want to see the results. So that drove me towards training, the different types of training, different types of coaching work that I do with different clients. It's all bound with excellence, and it ties down with getting the results that the client wants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like you definitely hit it on the mark there in terms of, that consistency of improvement, but also, you need to fully understand yourself and what you're doing inside your mind to be able to, even benchmark that, even, kind of assess where you're at, understand, know, be aware of where you're at now. So now, talking to our community of, practitioners and coaches and even trainers, there's a lot that, perhaps aren't working at this moment with those in corporate or with corporate organizations themselves. If you had any advice to people who might be wanting to move into that area or start working with some corporates or corporate clients, what would be your advice to them?
So if a group of trainers, interesting, yeah. Sometime back, somebody gave me a call, and it was quite late in the night, and she was asking me, I think I'd like to step out and do something on my own. I would like to work with some corporates, and she asked me where can I start then? Yeah. There are multiple models and there are multiple approaches on this. Over the years, I've seen and I've worked with different groups of people that came onto the practitioner, master practitioner, and at the same time, they are still working with corporates. One of them, because they are themselves trainers, so they came on the journey, they get trained, and then before they moved out, they actually went back to have this conversation with the existing company that they're working with. Yeah. Because they had a very good relationship with the existing company, therefore, that employee actually supported him to step out to run his own business. At the same time, actually asked him to come back with his knowledge as a practitioner, master practitioner in NLP, to train their leaders. Yeah. Training leaders with the NLP skills is one area you can always start with. Communication is always one of the biggest baffling topics when you sit with any leaders. They will sit, at any time you grab a coffee and have a chat with them, they tell you heaps of stories, how they get stuck in frustration, how they talk to their own staff, how do they manage up, how do they manage on the sidelines and all. So what is key at the practitioner, master practitioner level, it's really learning to understand how you interact with yourself and with others. And that's an area to start off with the corporates. Because generally, most of the trainings, or at least here within Malaysia, most of the trainings are very driven by technical skill sets. So there is still a huge gap when it comes to learning the most key and basic stuff like sensory acuity. What do I observe when I sit down with somebody? How do I be on the lookout for telltale signs? How do I then notice what's the internal conversation I'm having within myself just before I have a conversation with the client or with my boss or whomsoever it is? So that level of getting to know themselves, it's still a huge lacking.
Mm.
Any demand. Yeah. What's really normally found out there is a lot of assessments, the Myers-Briggs type indicators, all the different psychoanalytic stuff, or the profiling, all that's out there. Now, what happens? What happens when I've gotten this profile? What happens if I know this about the other person? How do I then make use of it? Where do I go and all those stuff? Those are very mechanical. And yet at the end of the day, we know everything starts with building rapport. Right. And not just building rapport with the team externally, it also means building rapport within ourselves. What does that mean to build rapport within myself? Does it mean I'm going to talk more to myself then? Oh, somebody's going to think I'm real crazy or something, right? But in some sense, and literally, it does mean that, isn't it? So if you want to step out and do that, two areas, work communication with leaders. The other area is negotiation. What better tool sets to learn and to equip people to negotiate, which basically is a subset of communication, that's all.
Mm.
Yeah. I picked to do sales because I think it's one area which is a whole lot of lacking. People keep on thinking that sales is getting the signature, getting a buy-in and all. And that's half truth. The whole focus of sales was never about closing a sale. The whole focus about sales is really being interested in the client. And then the client will decide and say that, hey, Evonne, I want to sign, I want to do this. Can I pay you in this form and all this manner? So business comes on very naturally after you've got rapport, you've got understanding with the client and work all those stuff. But it's easy to say it in layman terms. Yeah, and go and see the client, and talk to the client. I don't know why the client doesn't want to buy from me and all this stuff. Yeah. But coming back to where you're asking me, Tara, for somebody new, start with where you are comfortable, your familiar grounds. So if you're a trainer and you wanted to do training, my first questions to you is that, what have you been training before? What would you want to be doing? Who are the people that you want to work with? And where do you see yourself attributing your strengths? Where do you see yourself contributing? These are the 4 questions I would start them off with. To start where they are is important, and yet all of us are uniquely different. There is no one trainer is the same, though there are plenty of master trainers who are working on grooming more and more master trainers. We love to see more master trainers in NLP and hypnosis, right? And yet each and every one of us are uniquely different on our own. So if I could have a good 2 hours with him, I would actually help him discover what is his strengths, the relevancy to his background, plus the demands in the market, and then start by talking with a few groups of people that would really want to engage him to do some training work.
Yeah. Yeah.
The 2 areas actually, Tara. Training is one, and the other area is coaching. Coaching is still a huge lacking in the market. We still don't have enough of coaches, really. The corporates want coaches, but they are very skeptical in the sense will coaching deliver what they needed? Is that the real answer out there? So the perception of coaching is that you've got to put in hours and hours, and you don't know whether you're going to get the results that you want, which is different when we talk about the NLP coaching. We talk with certainty, got a whole lot more processes and skills in there that, don't do this, you can throw it that and that and that and that, right? And therefore, you're more sure, yeah? So there's a huge need and demand for that.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. And to, proof that up in terms of that coaching impact in a workplace, it's about making a start, right? And as you said, start with what you're interested in, what you do now, what you're good at, where it is you want to go, and starting somewhere. There are so many opportunities in that corporate area, as you've touched on. So I'd love to, yeah, see our community, expanding their thinking on what's possible in that area and speaking about what's possible. I guess that's our theme for this year's conference. So we are so lucky to have you as a speaker. We're very excited to see you present, and I'd encourage anyone who hasn't already registered for the conference to go ahead and do that now, remembering that it's free for our community, those who are already current members with ABH, ABNLP, or the Thailand Therapy Association. So jump on and secure your ticket now, and we will see you there, Evonne.
We'll see you there.